Today, important thing is to understand now about Laravel is working with sessions. As you know, sessions are nothing but the server-side information. It stores about some interactive thing within the stipulated time. PHP supports sessions in various kinds of ways, so does Laravel. So Laravel is a part of a PHP framework. Here it has some kind of the variables attached to it like code igniter and many more. Sessions over here are used to store information across the user about the request, response, and Laravel provides some kind of drivers like cookies, array, Redis, database to handle the session data. By default, if you want to check it, the inside our folder, let's go inside our folder. This is my sample project. All the session data are stored inside config session PHP. Let's open this file. And for now, I'll open this file. So this is my drivers, lifetime, expire on close, and some kind of the variables associated to it. So accessing the session data is done with the help of session get key. That will focus, we'll create an example and understand it. Accessing is done with the help of get, storing the information is done with the help of put, and deleting it is done with forget. So first of all, let's start with our controller. We'll create a controller named session controller, and over there we will access, put some information on it, and let's delete it. So creating the controller is very simple. It's PHP artisan make controller session controller. Okay. So controller is created successfully. Let's go to our app HTTP folder. Over there, we'll have our controllers associated with it, controller, and this is my session controller. Okay. Now what to do? Now inside the controller, we'll create an access session data, the one for accessing the data, one for storing it, and one for deleting the data. So first function will be, first is to accessing the session data. Okay, so that is done like public function access session data. So it always takes a request thing, so I'll mention request dollar request. Okay, so we're done with it. Now I will say, like, now inside accessing a session data, it is important to say that if a session has a particular name, then print the session, or else you can say there is no data in this session. That is going to be my logic. So my logic will be interpreted in this way. If dollar request session and has a name, so that is done as has with the help of has function. The session name is nothing but my name. We'll create this session. First, let's create a function for accessing this particular data. Okay, so if has curly braces in it, I'll use the proper indentations. Now I'll say echo dollar request, same thing, dollar request session get me. Okay. So this particular thing will be printed over here if I'll get the session with this name. And if it is not there, so I'll say else, I'll print echo no such session defined. Okay, I'll include semicolons in both the cases. So now this is done. This is for actually accessing the session data. Now what to do? Now other thing is to store this particular session. So I'll create a function. That function name will be to storing the session. So it will be store session data. Public function store session data. Request dollar request. And the other thing will be dollar request session. Session will be always included in quotes. You should always mention them. It will have the brackets associated with it, or else it will show an error. Session, I'll use put. Has was used to access whether the function was there. Put is used storing the session. So that is done with the help of name and value as a normal syntax of PHP. Value will be Omkar. Okay. Now I'll say echo data is successfully stored in session. Okay, so this has been done. Now we have stored the data, we have used it for accessing it. Now we'll do one simple step, that is for deleting the session. If you want to delete a particular session, so it is done by public function delete session data. Same thing over here, it will have request parameter, request dollar request. And over there we'll delete it. So that is done with the function name forget. How to do it? Similar way, dollar request session. This was with help of put. Here I'll say forget. So I'll specify forget and the session name will be given to it. Maybe forget. And only one parameter will be there. That is my name, which is the session name. My underscore name. Okay. And here I'll again print some statement, that is echo data has been removed. If you focus on it, it is nothing but similar to one thing, that is unset function of a session. So data has been removed from session. Unset in PHP is nothing but to remove the values from the variables. Now what to do? A similar thing, we need to register it, and the registration is usually done with the help of routes.php. So let's open routes.php file. So this is my routes.php. Here I'll mention the get, set, delete functions of session. So I'll first of all say get. So in get I'll say session dot get, and that is done in session controller at access session data. Session controller at access session data. I'm using a practice to copy paste the names, that is just because to avoid any kind of the spelling mistakes. So this was to get. Next is to put. We need to put it, or we need to see setting up the values. So that is done with the help of set. So that set thing is done under session controller store session data. Okay, so store session data. And last but not the least is to delete the session or delete the data, you can see. So that is done as session remove under function. See, this could have caused a mistake. always see for the spaces and the spelling mistakes. Okay. So now I've done. I've made the routing also inside routes.php file. Let's check in our browser how it looks. So it is important to understand in our browser how it looks. So this is my browser. Here I'll say session and get. First of all, it is damn sure that there will be no data in the session as we have not created the session for it. So this is like, yes, the output is no data in the session. Now I'll say set. Set will put the values which were associated with it. Data has been added to the session. Now again I'll say get. So it is printing the value which I mentioned, Virat Gandhi. I need to change it. I can change it over here. I'll say another name. Okay. Now let's check. I'll again say set and now I'll say get. The value has been done. Now I'll do remove. Remove is nothing but to remove the data from the session. Data has been removed from the session. It is printing that value. Now again I'll say get. Now it should not show any kind of data. Let's see. No data in this session. So in this way, the session stores the data and it can be accessed as and when required. So this was all about Laravel 5 sessions.